Whenever I felt suicidal, and openly so, my mother's remedy was unique: a chore list. She claimed it was to distract me from my misery by yelling at me the stove was dirty. The entrapment between life and Lysol left me wondering even more whether that was why I was born: to please the self esteem of people, while I felt mine eaten away. Now older and hopefully wiser, I wondered what was my next move, now that I realized my childhood was not so happy, and was giving myself permission to say it loud, even if not so proud. Now what? When you wake up spiritually from how much of your adult life has just been one giant reaction to your childhood one, you wonder to yourself, what is next? You can't go back to old routines of getting yelled at by and having no boundaries with others, but you cannot go back to dealing with unfulfilling jobs and mediocre relationships that oddly emulate the very things that made you hate yourself and your childhood. The ability to show up for others, the ability to be liked by all, and the ability to hide how deep down it meant nothing to you. My life had become one giant chore, and I was shocked that despite my suicidal tendencies and struggle with ideation, no one cared. I still was asked to clean the stove. "You think your mom was cold?" asked Josie. All of us were going through this strange reassessment of our mothers, particularly because it was too common amidst our friendship group, the abandonment or abuse of our fathers. We weren't judging our fathers as harshly, or maybe we were and just didn't realize it, because they felt so stagnant in nature. They were evil and they were stuck in their malice. But our mothers were more complicated. They were good people that just didn't know how to properly react to the evil that had landed on them in male form. They never made the connection that you could only be so good to someone else when you are not good to yourself. Moreover, our mothers were raised with misogynistic concepts of women that deduce their personal joy with themselves to obsessive levels of cleanliness and people pleasing, especially men. My mother's virtuous nature felt cut from me, except in crisis. The problem was not everything was burning around me. Sometimes the fire was just in my heart. I feel like I'm literally holding a knife to my throat, and she says to throw out the garbage, I said, laughing, crying. I was devastated because my entire life I was made to fear everyone leaving me. My father would often ask me, "You want me gone? Because I will leave." And my mother was not far behind in swearing that one day I would leave her, or I would call her and she would not pick up. This bred in me a fear that I was just someone to leave, and I never really assessed whether I even wanted the people to stay. I just automatically prepped for their exit. Now I feel defensive over my mother, even protective. I know she was not perfect, and sometimes I dare to say bad, yet I know that through all her wounds, she did try to love me and tried her best to teach me how to be love. Still, how much can pain teach love how to be itself? I don't know, Deandra, Josie sighed. My mom has been looking at me lately since her sister died, and she clutches to me in a way I never got to do with her. It's like she sees me with this love she never revealed and I always wanted, but now I don't know why I don't want it. I'm doing my own business here. I'm trying to really love myself and do this career change. I feel like I got what I wanted when I didn't want it anymore. And I feel bad because she wants to be closer and she wants to hang out. And there was so much I had to do without her, so much I had to grow and had to heal. And and it's not that I don't forgive her, but I don't want to hug her back anymore. I'm not even angry. I'm so me. Josie's mom was going through an existential crisis, like most of our moms in a way, realizing she was old after her younger sister and mother died within 3 months of each other. She was looking back at her life, her unhappy marriages, and her feeling of being eternally misplaced in both New York and Puerto Rico. Now, a woman who would so proudly promulgate as a parenting tactic that she was not friendly with her children, she was asking her daughter to be her best friend. She wanted to go out more, have deeper conversations, and be a woman with the girl she raised. But that girl was now a woman herself, And her mother's parenting tactic worked. She was not friendly with her mom at all. She was incredibly independent from her. We were raised so hyper independent, Deandra, Josie said, almost shocked. I feel like Lady Liberty. I'm the Statue of Liberty. You know, I'm all about freedom and being independent. I do not know what it is to lean on someone, and it's because of her and them. I want to break that pattern because I know my mom thought she broke it, but I think it's me who's breaking it. I know what you mean, I replied, with what felt like a knot in my throat. I was in a crossroads, feeling that out of body sadness that always led me to either A, want to kill myself, or B, revamp my life. I was amazed that often they felt like one and the same, death and rebirth. Yet this was the first rebirth where my ego was dying, because I was realizing in the most compassionate way I was failing like my mom did in breaking our generational curse, which was shutting down. I was massively shut down, and all she could do to help me was give me advice on mopping, albeit good advice, but not the one I needed. I needed advice on going through pain, not just shutting it down, avoiding it, or acting like it wasn't there. How to get through it. All right, let's discuss, let's heal. It's something that I've noticed with a lot of my friends, and I've brought up Anna before in prior episodes, and me and Josie was talking about it. We was talking about it. Me and Josie was talking about it, because we're doing proper grammar. We're doing proper grammar. Um, but it's so funny because it's almost like our fathers were just so messy and abusive and crazy and gone, and when they came it was like filled with baggage. And it's so weird because often you're told, oh, of course you're going to judge me, I'm the parent that stays. But I think it's true. I think we judge the parent that stays because of how they stay and what they teach us in their stay versus my father. It's so weird sometimes. And I was talking to Josie about this, and I have so many episodes to publish. Girlies and guysies stay. It's almost like he's a dead character because he didn't grow. He was never a good human being. Everything he did was material. Like, he would say the most horrible things and he's like, look at my Lululemons. Aren't I fantastic? Don't they look great on me? And then talk about highly expensive yoga pants. Like he was so flesh and blood. And I think it's easier to judge a person who's spirit, who has soul, and how that soul moves on earth. And I don't know if that's necessarily fair, but I think it comes from this belief almost and hope that things can get better. Our dynamics can get better. This is a person that is alive enough and light enough that maybe they can become godlier enough. It's strange. Like, I think with my father, when I talk about him, I'm really talking about how he affected me and trying to dissect how, particularly with my dynamics in money and men, because money is such a masculine energy, and that was how he most tried to punish me. That's where he most wished me harm, in my body, in my mind, in my money, in my material. And I think as women, we judge our mothers for how they taught us to react to these guys. And how I think with a lot of my friends, we're finding I dated a father I didn't meet. Like I dated a father I didn't want to date because I knew how evil he was. And that's what we're all dissecting. My boss was like my dad in some ways. Like the messiness of still attracting and letting this energy enter your life when you swear that's the very thing you're avoiding. And this goes both ways. I'm sure there are men who were abandoned by their moms and were abused by them. Because I think at the core of life, we're all just divided between lovers and haters. And this giant feeling of sadness in this world right now is this feeling of, I think hate is rising in an odd way, or it's just not as going away as I want it to be. And I think with Josie in particular, we were talking, and it's a conversation that I've seen a lot, been repeated lately in my life because my circle of friends, they're so wonderful and they're all maturing and they're all going through this wake up call of kind of feeling I don't know if I want to be my mother's friend like I wanted to, especially in my 20s. I wanted to, my early 20s, I wanted us to be besties. And they were so firm on saying, I'm not your friend, I'm not your friend, I'm your mom. You respect me. And now they're older and we're older. And we're both going through this very different existential crisis in terms of Josie's mom. This feeling of maybe I didn't live my life that great. Maybe I should have been more loving. Maybe I didn't protect myself for you enough. My perspectives on respect and honor were a little off. And they're pulling these olive branches out, but then the old them circles back, either in memory or in a movement they make, and we just recoil. Because when the chips fall down, that old phrase, I'm not your friend, I'm your mom, will come back. And I don't know how to reconcile it, to be quite frank. And I think that's what Josie was talking about, and what a lot of my friends are talking about. You raised me to be so independent that now, at best, the journey we are on is kind of reanalyzing how freedom was defined to us. Because we're not in the happiest of jobs, yet we're too scared to go for our happy. We're not in the happiest of relationships, yet we're too scared to leave them. We're not even in the happiest versions of our minds, of our souls, of our bodies, yet we're just not even changing that. And we don't know why we're not changing for the better. And it's so ironic that at this time, our mothers are reaching out to us in their own journey to figure out how they need to change for the better. And it all goes back to kind of getting older and waking up. I think they're waking up to this feeling of, I don't think I lived the life I wanted. And we're waking up to a feeling of, I don't think I'm living the life I want. And we feel like we have time to change it, to turn that ship around. But we were so raised to make our parents the center of our focus and our self-esteem. If mom, dad, our cousins is if everybody's happy with us, then we're happy. And it's almost like when they call us, to help them get through their self-esteem issues, we're going back to that inner little girl. But we've got it now. We've got the self esteem issues, and we can't pull the same tricks they did because we don't have the kids. We don't have the 401k. We don't have the distractions. We've really got to confront ourselves. Maybe we should mop. I don't know. But check out daddyrecovery.com, deandrereviewsitall.com. Check out my artistry. Follow me, people.